Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Game Plan. Today we're going to have a look at a regular conquest match. I want to show you how the advice I've given in previous videos actually translates into a full game. More importantly, I want to let you see that I do some pretty stupid stuff as well and don't really have any elite skills. But that despite that, I can come out on top by thinking things through and taking the smart way around. I hope this can serve as an inspiration by showing that you do not have to have the best reflexes or accuracy to come out on top in Battlefield 3. So let's get down to it. As you can see, this is a conquest match on Karg Island, a big map with 4 flags. On maps this size, you should always sprint for a vehicle when you spawn in the first time and race for the objective of your choice. If you don't catch a ride out of the spawn, you will not only feel bored while you jog over the plains towards the closest flag, but you'll also miss out on flag capping points as well as weakening the momentum of your team. The boredom and missed points are obvious setbacks, but momentum is not to be underestimated either. If your team captures flags much more slowly than the opposing team, then you will have much less of a foothold on the battlefield. You will quickly bleed tickets and have a very limited choice of spawn points to help you control the battle. Fortunately, the redeeming factor of big maps like Karg Island is that you have a lot of freedom of movement, which translates into being able to pick your battles as well as the opportunity to successfully flank most any location. Now let's get back to the battle at hand. Speed and flag captures went well there, but we lost the tank battle, and looking back at this, there was probably an engineer behind us that I should have taken care of as the tank gunner. At this point I felt a little frustrated, and my mindset during this game was really not optimal. If you think back to the last video about learning from the battlefield, you might remember I explained about how your performance is made up of 4 factors. The game state and how you deal with it, the game functions and how you use them, the player state and how you manage it, and the player functions that you've trained up. Most of my comments in this video will refer to these 4 aspects, but I'll leave it to you to relate them more thoroughly. That way I can keep up a more natural narrative. But I'll give you the first reference for free, and that is that my player state during this game was horrible. I was prone to rage and pushing myself too much that day. Throughout this match you will see some pretty dumb mistakes due to that, and I'll try to explain what a calmer and more focused mindset could have achieved. While looking at this video, try to notice where the enemies are looking and what routes and angles I'm using as a result. The majority of my kills are against tanks and infantry that are looking the other way. The majority of my deaths are in head-on assaults.
We lost the objective. Laying out C4.
I always try to spawn in as close to an enemy flag as I can and then run straight for it. As a squad leader, don't forget to continuously give orders and follow through on them. It helps give your team direction and extra points.
This objective. The objective has been neutralized.
A skull indicator showed up on the minimap. As I can't hear any vehicles or see any big explosions, that probably means one of my teammates got killed by infantry. Because of this skull, I knew to expect an enemy here. After killing him, I chuck in a grenade to give myself space to reload in case another enemy was ready to jump out. I then proceeded to flank the position to check for stragglers, but ironically got taken down by someone who was trying to flank me instead. The lesson here for me was to be more careful taking my corners and not to expect to always be the only one trying to flank a position. I'm also shooting an unsilenced gun, so any enemies around would have known my location. More caution would have been better. Another learning moment. Try to spawn on squad mates when you can. It gives them some extra points and allows you to back them up when necessary. As I spawn, I tend to just start running. There's nothing as unpleasant as being mowed down 3 seconds after spawn while you're still trying to determine where you want to go. That's why you saw me running the wrong way first and then realized that the only occupied flag was in another direction. From the sight and sound of it, there's a tank battle at D, so I flank to the left into the containers to stay out of sight. All the while I'm checking my minimap to see who won. While I'm capping the flag, another enemy tank rolls in. I think you normally need 3 pieces of C4 to take out a tank, but now I only had time for 2. I might be wrong on this as the tank obviously got destroyed. On the minimap I can see the B flag blinking, which means it's being taken. The A flag is the only other contested point, but it is far behind the B flag. As such, it's more efficient to move up to B. If the action's over before I get there, then I can naturally move up to A. If B is still being taken or fully capped when I get there, then I've made an efficient run.
All units, we've lost the objective.
Always throw down support items while on flags. Even though no one seemed to need it, I'll be earning a decent amount of points off this one and helping out my teammates. It doesn't take any effort, and flags are prime strategical and high traffic locations where your ammo and health packs will be very much appreciated. And we go back to D. A large part of winning Conquest is to simply run back and forth between flags. Don't hesitate, just keep running. As you're taking one flag, already decide which one will be next and start running as soon as you can. Defending flags can have a benefit in specific situations, but it's often a gamble to see if a flag will actually be attacked at all, and if you can beat down the attacking force. I was hoping the tank wouldn't see me, but he obviously already knew my location. In this case, it would have been better to run onto D instead of hoping that the tank driver and or gunner would forget about my presence. The only way to be a proper C4 ninja is to use stealth. If your cover is blown, then run away and find something else to do. In this case, that would have been running for D. Luckily, running for D was exactly what Slake was doing. By spawning on him, I could help him capture that flag and not lose too much momentum from my screwed up assault on the tank at C. Note also how I take different entrances and positions from my squad mate. It never pays off to bunch up together. That's how your opponents earn squad wipe ribbons. Try keeping an eye on where your squad mates are going and move information with them. Sometimes you'll have randoms in your squad that want to join you in your hiding spot or overwatch position. If this happens, simply run away. There's no good way to keep a spot with the two of you unless you are coordinating sightlines. This is unlikely to happen with randoms, so simply pick a different spot and let it go. From the fact that Slake had his rocket launcher out, I guessed there might be a vehicle around. The minimap verified this. As our team had the D flag and the opposing team had the B and C flags, any vehicle we encounter is probably facing toward D. For that reason, I run around either to flank the tank or run onto C, depending on the situation. As fate would have it, both tanks are parked next to each other and being repaired. The tank closest to me is actually empty, which inspires me to kill the engineer and grab his tank instead of C4ing it. Now this is a big player state moment. I was ecstatic and excited that I pulled off this move and lost all my focus. There was a lot of chaos after taking this tank and I didn't manage to keep my head clear. Slake actually had to tell me to start driving after he repaired me from some helo fire because I totally lost my focus. I berated myself for wasting an opportunity, but also tried to let it slide. I got rid of 2 enemy tanks, and next time I might be able to add some more level-headed driving to that. From the spawn map I could see that the Charlie flag was contested, so I spawned there. That means that there are enemies in the burn area of the flag. Keeping an eye on my minimap, I noticed they are around the center containers. I chuck in a grenade to cover my back and proceed to flank them. This is the same maneuver I used earlier in the game, this time with a little more success.
Throw grenades! Heads down! We have lost the objective.
Now I'm still not taking the flag and a buddy died behind me. Based on where my buddy died and the sightlines I've already checked, I could deduce the enemy's location, but I couldn't get a clear shot. I used the aim down sight mechanic to scan around areas where I expect enemies. If you aim directly at a hidden enemy, you will see a triangle above their heads. You can also use the spotting mechanic for this, but it leaves you vulnerable for attack, so it's better to preserve that for enemies that are too far away to engage you. With this guy I tried to perform a flank, but he caught me midway. Luckily I managed to win the one-on-one as he was just done shooting an RPG and had a delay before being able to reach his gun. Note that his RPG fire would have killed me if I had hesitated or camped in my previous location. After killing an enemy around the red flag, never hide in one spot straight away. The guy you just killed will see the next 5 seconds or so of your life and can spawn back in on the flag you're capping and kill you easily if he knows where you're holed up. On the other hand, my hyperactive running around the flag is probably not optimal either. Now I changed the order to the alpha flag even though I don't go there. I know my squad mate Slake is in that area, and if he attacks it or makes any kills around there, we will both earn extra points for it. Besides that, at the moment of giving the order, there wasn't much else to do. Now I hear a sniper shooting and check my minimap. A red triangle lights up at each sniper shot. Normally I wouldn't go Wookiee hunting, but as there is no contested flag near me, I decide to go for it. I failed in a rather embarrassing way, which shows that I'm not really the best at aiming. I'm not sure how I could have gotten this guy without just being a better shot than him, but we'll chalk it up to bad luck. Moving up to flag D, I notice my squad mate rolling up next to me in a tank. I jump in as a way of getting cover, overseeing the situation and lending gunner support. The moment we face a tank, my usefulness as gunner comes to an end, and I notice the enemy tank is focusing so strongly on my buddy's tank that I might be able to duck under the radar and slap on some C4. By the time I get out, he is destroyed however, but there's another tank behind him. The success of that maneuver had everything to do with predicting the enemy's focus. As you practice C4ing tanks, you will start noticing which way the gunner turret is pointing and if a tank driver is the type to look where he's driving or actually scan around. Tanks are completely blind close to their flanks, so once you get there without being noticed, quickly apply the C4 and detonate. Don't be afraid to suicide while doing this. There's nothing more frustrating than missing a tank kill because you wanted to run out of range of the blast and got taken down instead. Impatience is your enemy. Just because an area looks clear does not mean that it is. D was still a red flag, and so I should have flanked past the water side into the building, as enemies are still spawning onto the flag. Running out in the open like this was asking for some bullet therapy. And I did it again. Admittedly, I should have gotten that kill because I was the first to open fire and had a clear shot. As you can see, most of my kills come from flanking, not from reflexes or accuracy, I'm afraid. This time I had the wisdom to stay in the gunner seat and take a step back, as I was clearly starting to play too impatiently, causing myself to rack up unnecessary deaths. As a tank gunner, especially in close quarters, focus on the back of the tank, as a tank driver will naturally focus on the front. Also, no matter the chaos, try to stay within the burn area of the flag. Better to die there with a flag cap under your belt than outside with nothing to show for your effort. I hope this video showed how you can use the tips from previous videos in an actual match, but more importantly I wanted to show that you don't need elite skills to come out on top. Focus on the objectives and use speed, situational awareness and predictions of enemy movement to capture flags and take down your opponents. And if you liked this video, please leave a comment, give it a thumbs up or even subscribe. Thank you for watching.